Welcome to a Minecraft series where I see how many days in a row I can play the game. If that sounds like something you're in for, consider leaving a like on the video. But besides that, let's see what we get up to today. It is another beautiful day here in Forevercraft, and in today's episode we are going to be continuing on completing our lake that we've been working on for a couple of days or so by putting in all of the water around here. And while we do that, I wanted to discuss a couple of tips that I have for YouTubers, either people that are thinking about starting a YouTube channel or already have a YouTube channel, just when it comes down to either growing your channel and also the perspectives to have when it comes down to doing this for the long haul. One of the coolest things about starting content creation is that you have no idea what your own personality and what your own experiences and what your own creations and creativity, skills and assets that you have to bring to the online platform can be impactful for other people. There are tons of people that within a couple of videos, they happen to really see that they have a lot to contribute to making content and to content creation in general. So you never know what's going to happen when you start YouTube. And that's a great reason to start that uncertainty, whether it be in the positive sense or in the negative sense. I think a lot of us have that imposter syndrome as to being kind of unsure as to whether or not we have anything to share on the internet, and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone is worth doing, I would say. And you never know what's going to happen, not only in terms of a YouTube and an audience creation standpoint and a monetary standpoint, because YouTube can provide us money, which is a really great thing. And I really do appreciate that aspect of being able to do something that I love and just make videos for the internet, sharing things that I find to be valuable and that I'm thinking about. And you never know what other people are going to need from your perspective in life based on what you've had in your own experiences. So it's worth doing in the first place. And I will never stop saying that, although I have made a couple of videos recently talking about the new YouTube requirements in terms of monetization. And I don't think that really anyone happens to be that happy about that. I am not that happy about it as well, but I do think that YouTube still happens to be an opportunity. Even if you don't go viral, even if you're not the biggest YouTuber in the world, it can impact your life in a really fantastic way that you have no idea until you actually start doing it. But when it comes down to that imposter syndrome of thinking, well, I don't really have anything to say, I don't really know what I have to share, or I just don't really think that I have, anything that's worthwhile. I'm not worthy enough, or I'm not worth it enough to have some people actually watch me and listen to me and hear my thoughts and experiences. Well, I want you to dissuade yourself out of that in that imposter syndrome as much as you can, because the reality is that the more you become a YouTuber, the more you get connected with other people that make YouTube videos. And those people all happen to have one thing in common, that we all share this thought of wondering at times whether or not we are worthwhile to continue to make videos. And I even think about that. I've thought about it even today and whatnot. But the reality is that it's a bunch of other people that are sharing themselves on the internet and taking that opportunity to be vulnerable and to push themselves out of their comfort zones. In reality, when you think about these people in a personal sense, you know that they're juggling with the fact that it's very possible that friends and family members, other people around them, know about the fact that they're doing their YouTube channel, or maybe it's a secret thing and they're not really telling anyone about it. And don't feel like you have to tell and share other people about your YouTube channel. You can just do it for yourself, and that's more than okay. But all of us are juggling with this imposter syndrome of, well, is us what we have, innately, what we bring to the table based on our personalities and our own experiences in life, like, is that enough? Like, do people really care enough? Like, well, I actually have the opportunity to make something happen out of this. And it's something that we all share. And so the more that you connect yourself with other people that do YouTube and make videos, the more that you realize that this is something that we all have in common. And it's not something that only you happen to relate with, but everyone that happens to have the courage and somewhat the audacity and the vulnerability to pick up the camera and the microphone to make some sort of content. They all have this in common, unless you are just, you have this incredibly insanely high ego and you think all of this about yourself, and you've been, born into pretty much the best circumstance of life possible, and you know that you have nothing to hide back in, that everything that you say and you do is perfect, which is again in kind of in an odd audacious, I would say, or it takes some audacity to believe that everything that you know, happen to share and bring in your light and energy is the perfect thing that other people need. You know, where the reality is that all of us have some sort of light to bring towards the internet and towards other people and their connection in terms of their ways of thinking about life, in terms of how they can contrast your experiences against their own. And so we all do have this thing to share, but I think the majority of people are not the egotistical sort of type of person that's like, yeah, I should share exactly. I have so much to share. I'm the perfect person that, you know, look at me. I think most of us, a lot of us, the majority of us that make YouTube content do not have the mentality of like, oh, you should just look at me, you know, look at everything that I have going on, but more of the, I want to share something and I'm not really sure how people will resonate with that. And so we all have this in common. And the reality is that the more that you do YouTube and make these other connections with people, you recognize that everyone is in the same boat here and we all kind of relate to that. And so imposter syndrome is something that you're going to continue to experience and feel during the entirety of your YouTube experience and career. It doesn't go away once you get to 1,000 subs. It doesn't go away when you get to 10,000 in my own personal experience. And I have a strong feeling that that imposter syndrome does not go away when you get to 100,000 subscribers or 1 million plus subs, even 10 million. I don't even know how many subscribers Mr. Beast has, but I'm sure that it's probably insane. But regardless, that imposter syndrome is something that YouTubers all share. And that feeling gets more comfortable over time. I don't feel uncomfortable. I don't feel shy in front of the camera or in front of the microphone anymore, but that has taken about 4 years of time for me to get to that point. But I do still have the feelings of like, is my content, is it worth making? Do people really relate to it? If I stopped making content, would people even realize, would people think about it anymore? And I know that I'm not alone in that. So there is a bit of that vulnerability and, you know, that feeling of, is what I'm doing worthwhile enough for other people? But the reality is, based on the feedback that I get, and I'm sure that plenty of you guys get, if you happen to make YouTube comments or YouTube videos, I'm sure you have tons of comments from people that are saying how awesome the comment or the commentaries or the content or the cinematics or the thoughts or the ideas or just the let's play and the progression or your own personality and your own bits and bobs and twists and the things that make you shine and radiate your own light. They are really important, and people really will see you for those things that you are sharing based on sharing yourself on the internet. And I will say that one of the best things about doing YouTube, even if you're feeling in a downturn on your own YouTube channel, because there are ebbs and flows, and YouTube absolutely is a roller coaster where sometimes you're on the up and sometimes you're on the down, and sometimes it's scary and sometimes it's relaxing, and sometimes it's the greatest ride of the world, and sometimes you want to get off the roller coaster, if that makes sense. It really is that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, even on the bad days, I know that for me, and it's something that you get more sensitized to over time, in an unfortunate sense, if I'm being honest, the fact that the more you end up doing YouTube, the more people are going to leave these comments every single day on your channel, giving you the best compliments that it changes your life. Comments on a YouTube channel, they can be novels from time to time. And I love that as well. People that are really sharing exactly who they are and the way that they connected with the things that you happen to be providing and sharing and publishing on YouTube, on the internet. These real connections happen. And for me, I think the best example that I can give for my personal life is, again, the fact that I didn't think that I had a good voice. I didn't think that I was able to commentate. I didn't think any of the different things. And as soon as I started my YouTube channel and got better at speaking into the microphone, which is a skill of itself, of course, I started getting comments from these other people saying, wow, I love listening to your voice. Like, it's something that is cathartic. Like, it's something that calms me down. I listen to it before I go to sleep, or I listen to it while I'm going on a walk, while I'm doing my chores, or while I'm playing Minecraft in the background. And for someone that always had a very struggle with my embracing my voice, embracing my ability to speak. As someone that is an elementary school teacher now and has become a much better communicator over a long period of time, I struggled for such an extensive period of time with that imposter syndrome of feeling like I just want to do this for myself, but I don't think that people are going to want to listen to my voice. And then you get comments of people saying like, "Oh my goodness, your voice is majestic. I love listening to your voice." Or you could have you could listen to, or you could record an audible or a book commentary, or you could do a podcast, and I would be more than happy to listen to your voice. And hearing that not only once, but a couple times a day, often, or even other things related to, if you don't think that you're a good Minecraft builder, I promise you're going to find, regardless of your build style or your building skill, people are going to be like, "Oh my goodness, you're such a good builder," and you don't think of yourself as a good builder. And I'm sure I'm speaking to myself, and I think plenty of people are like, "Yeah, I love watching the other people on YouTube that have good builds, but my builds are not good. I'm not a good builder," and I personally, speaking for myself, do not consider myself to be a good builder. But then I get multiple comments, every single day, every couple days, every week, being like, "I like your builds, like you're a good builder. I like the way that you happen to do this." And imagine in real life, because unfortunately, the reality is for most of us, I would like to say in real life, imagine getting 10, for me, I would say this point in time, and I'm not trying to be boastful in any sort of way. I'm just thankful. Imagine being able to get or have 15 to 20, maybe 30, maybe 40 or 50 people in your day while you're walking around, while you're going at work, while you're working your job, whatever it is in your real life. Maybe you're at sporting events, maybe you're a parent with your kids and you're doing other things. And imagine up to 40 or 50 people every single day, not 40 or 50 for every day, but on a day, it definitely happens. 40 to 50 people that are genuinely from the bottom of their heart being like, "Yo, like, I like the way that you're doing this. Like, you grill the way that, maybe you're doing a cookout or whatever it is that you like to do." And, people just walk by you in real life and they're like, "Man, I like your shirt. I like your necklace. I like your watch. I like your energy. Man, you have a great smile. You have a great face. Like, I like the way that you thought about these things. You have a great perspective." Like, imagine just hearing that 10 to 15 to 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 times a day, and having that happen every single day. Imagine how you would feel about yourself, even in the times where you have imposter syndrome, where you realize that there are really people out there that, just like you, when you watch YouTube videos, if you even happen to be watching mine at this point in time, if this resonates with you, then imagine transferring that experience and putting yourself in the perspective of that many people every single day that left a comment saying something as authentic as the thoughts that you might happen to be having about whatever it is that you happen to be watching. And maybe even, the thoughts that we happen to be speaking about in this video right now, which is just an enormously beneficial thing in your life. Like, I know that for many of you guys, I will never meet you, and that is an unfortunate thing, but the fact that you've been able to spread that love and joy and positivity in my life because I have decided to take a chance on myself and make YouTube videos, that is so incredibly worth it. And as someone that, as we began the conversation explaining the fact that imposter syndrome does not really ever go anywhere, like, it still applies to all of us. And since YouTube is a roller coaster, you could be on top of the world and have all the subscribers, and then you might have an off streak, but you might still be getting those comments from the people that are saying that they enjoy those things. And when YouTubers say that it is your comments, and of course, obviously the support on the channel, whether it be memberships, even leaving a like on the video, being a subscriber of the channel, all of those things are important for a YouTuber. But the comments that people leave on YouTube videos, I think, and I'd like to speak not only for myself, but for other people as well, the most incredibly impactful things that make a difference in how people that make YouTube videos are inspired to continue to make YouTube videos. In many ways, not only for this series, but for the YouTube channel, although I intrinsically would continue to make YouTube videos because I love doing it for myself, there are definitely times where I've been in a down slump and I've wanted to take a step away from things on the more difficult or scary parts of the roller coaster of YouTube. And it's been the comments from the people the people that show up and not only watch one video, but watch multiple videos and enjoy and really relate and have an appreciation and respect for what you do. When you do YouTube, I think that for me, at least for me personally, that respect is something that flows for yourself. But the reality is that you still have people from afar all around the world that are continuously respecting you. And that is so important to fall back, or not fall back on, but just to have as a supporting factor of your life. And that is a reason why YouTube is worth doing, in my personal opinion. However, I want to say that YouTube is not easy. And I say that as someone that has made almost 150 videos in a row, has published almost 1,000 videos, long-form videos, over the last 3.5, almost 4 years now at this point in time of making YouTube videos. But YouTube is hard, and oftentimes when you're watching the video, the creator, if they're doing a good job, makes it look easy. But it does take sacrifice, it does take discipline, it does take you pushing yourself out of your comfort zone on a very consistent basis, and that is what helps you grow as a human being. The amount of skills that you can learn through doing YouTube, it is worthwhile even if you're never going to reach that monetization requirement. It is most likely going to help you become a better version of yourself, because you have to do something that is difficult in order to continue to pursue YouTube. And that is a worthwhile reason for doing it by itself. And I will say, and I know that everyone, it's almost become cliche and cheesy on the internet, as any YouTuber to say, that if you're making YouTube videos, do not do it for the money. I think that ever more now than ever, after the most recent YouTube updates, this is a very real thing. But I promise you, please do not go into YouTube for the money. It is not worth it. I will say just off the rip this year, as someone that really appreciates the YouTube money, and it goes a long way for my life. But it's not full time, and I spend every single day and show up to the table on days where I'm not feeling like speaking, on days where I'm, and I don't usually communicate about it, but, there are days where I'm feeling, feeling like I don't want to do it, but I still show up to the table, and that takes you on those days or those nights when you stay up late and you're editing because you want to get the video out, or you're recording because you don't, because you want to get the video out because it means something to you. And you're sacrificing other things in your life. You're sacrificing a bit of balance in your life. You could be enjoying the sunset, or enjoying some time with other people, or reading a book, or eating healthier, or you could be spending a bit more time exercising, or any of the other things that are also important in life. You, at the end of the day, are sacrificing some of that in order to continue to work on your YouTube channel. And if you're going to do that, please know for that 99.9% of people, you're not going to, I hate to say it, and everyone could be that one person, but most people are not going to just off the rip be able to just have the lifestyle that YouTube allocates that looks like it's in the movies. And the reality that even for most YouTubers that are the lifestyle influencers that have everything going on, and it looks like they have the absolute life, it is not as clean cut as what you would see in the highlight reel that is oftentimes a YouTube video. So you are, at the end of the day, sacrificing some of your time and energy, and if I'm being honest, some of your life force, right? Like some of your years on this planet, some of the time that is your one life here. And all of us that continue to make YouTube videos, we do that because it is a trade-off that is worthwhile, even if the money doesn't come in at the end of the day. And of course, the money is helpful. I say that as someone that my entire YouTube setup, so much of my life in extra security in life, comes from the extra little bit of income that comes from YouTube. I know that based on the amount of sacrifice that I put into, again, making a YouTube channel happen and being consistent with it, it is not something that is worth doing just for the money. Money is the cherry on top. It's one of those things where the great analogy of life is that when you're living your life, imagine baking a great cake. Well, the frosting and the cherry on top is great and it'll make it the best cake whatsoever. But if you were to make a cake of your life, and I know it's a weird analogy, but if your life was one cake that you baked, would you want the entire goodness of your life just to be the cherry on top, just the icing that you can lick off, and then you're stuck with this cake? Or would you rather have the best built cake in the world? And, taste incredible and everything that you have done, the journey of your life has been worth it. And then all of the good things, the money, the freedom, the subscribers, the comments, the super chats, the donations, the XY and the members on your channel, all the Patreon subs, whatever it is, all of that is the cherry on top. And you could have all of the money from YouTube, you could have all the subs, you could have all of that, all the vanity things for your YouTube channel. But if every single day when you show up to work, you do not like doing it, you hate doing it, it's not worth it. And there's a Japanese proverb about the fact that if you realize that you've gotten on the wrong rail of the train, make sure that you get off at the nearest exit possible. If you find that you're doing YouTube content in a way that you do not enjoy doing, it is only for the money, then get out of doing it. Get back on the right train, because what you're making YouTube content on is not for you. You have to love doing it. You have to want to spend the extra time putting on the bells and whistles for a video, rewatching it, enjoying the fact that when you pressed record, you were doing something that was hard for you. Even if you didn't want to do it, but enjoying that. Because life is not a destination, as all of us know. It's a journey. And when I started YouTube, I thought that maybe YouTube was going to solve all of my problems, but it's not. What it is going to do is it's going to give your life a bit more spark to it. Because besides you doing just the things that you might want to do because you're passionate about yourself, you're doing it for other people that are there to support you along the journey. Imagine having a little fan base, a little fan club that is there to support you doing the thing that you want to. Maybe it's learning how to solve a Rubik's Cube. Maybe it's trying to get out into nature and do a bit more photography if that's your thing. Maybe it is doing a bit of drawing. And then imagine if you have 15 to 20 people that are cheering you on doing that. And then imagine one of those people are like, you know what, I want to support you doing that. I love how you are showing up to the table and I like the drawings that you're making. I love the fact that you're working on yourself. I want to give you a couple of dollars just because I recognize that you're doing this and it inspires me to do it. And I want to show this as a token of my appreciation. That is much more the YouTube lifestyle that you want to. Instead of you going and being like, hey, I'm live right now. Who wants to give me some money? Right? And that's what it is when you're recording. You might not be in front of a live audience if you're going for the money. But the reality is that it's pretty much being like, hey, I'm showing, here's some, who wants to give me some money? I'm going to be whoever you want to be so I can get some extra money. As opposed to being like, you know what, I'm going to be me and I hope that the right people find it. And it doesn't matter if it's in people. It doesn't matter if it's only a couple hundred people, 100,000, whatever it is for you, right? The reality is that every soul does matter. And the more that you continue to remind yourself of that, that is what YouTube is all about. And of course, we haven't spoken anything about how many views you should get, what metrics you should have, how many subscribers you should look to get to. Because the reality is that all of that will come. For me, I'm a teacher nowadays, and I remember when I was in college in particular, and many students, and unfortunately education has changed in many ways, but many students would just try to study for the test, and as soon as they reached their, they would grind out and they would study for the test, and they would do okay. But for me, when it came down to learning things, I always thought I'm just gonna learn everything that I can, and I'm gonna do it to the best of my ability, and the grades will come. And as someone that performed very well academically for a very long period of time, I promise you, that is what happened. I decided to just bring my all and put my best foot forward and put myself out of my comfort zone and learn new things and challenge myself and apply all of those different things. And the grades came with it. And I think that the best kind of perspective that I can give to anyone that does YouTube, is thinking about YouTube, is the fact that that is what it's like. Do something that you love. Do it because you want to do it and you want to share yourself and you want to challenge yourself and you know that it's hard. If it seems too easy, then you're not doing it right. Do something that's creative and challenging and puts yourself forward and puts yourself into community with other people that can give their own opinions. There could be some negative people and there will be some haters along the road. And I've had my fair share, I promise you, but that is always outshone or outshined or whatever the word is by the people that are giving you all of that love, that fan base that, you know, supporting you doing the thing that you love doing. And all of the subs, the channel members, the support, the lovely comments, the other creators and community that you get to grow with, being friends with other people that you look up to at this point in time within the YouTube sense. I promise you, if you keep with it, you will become friends with them. I know that's been my experience in life, and there are going to be times, not just once, not just when you start, but also throughout the entire journey, where you are double checking yourself, double guessing on whether or not it's worth doing. And that's why it's worth listening to these videos every once in a while, and that is why I'm making this. Not only for you, but for myself, I would say too. So hopefully you found this helpful. I can talk about YouTube for hours, as many of you guys know, and we still have a long way to go on this channel when it comes down to growing and just seeing what happens. So thank you for listening to this point in time. If you're new here, consider watching another one of my videos. That way you would know that maybe it's worth taking a look at another one and staying along for the ride. And if you have been watching a couple of them, consider subscribing. Of course, it means a lot, but I'm not going anywhere. I will talk to you guys all very soon, and let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below.